Quick intro to this video. We filmed Justin's second state inspection at their new facility, Panhandle Meat Processing. First inspection was pretty rough. Things happened that were out of the norm for people that have experience with state inspections and meat packing facilities. There were 5 inspectors. 2 of them Justin already knew because he had dealt with him before on some other work he's done. And they were kind of ranting and raving about how great their facility was during the inspection. And then there were 3 other ones from Austin. They were the ones that ended up failing the facility outright, mostly for little nitpicky things that would, in like a logical sense, warrant like a review, or you need to fix these things before we can pass you type of thing. Mostly it was a very unfun experience for them, and it set them back about 2 months. After Justin told me about the first inspection, I offered to bring out the camera for the second, so that A, he can have video footage of the things that they want changed, just to help him remember and stuff like that, and B, so that the inspectors couldn't unduly fail them on things that they had already passed, were already compliant on during the first inspection. Basically, just keep the funny business to a minimum. Because that's, I don't know, my experience, state actors are kind of like that. This is their livelihood, and they care about their animals and all of their work. They're ready to get started processing their animals and getting high quality, sustainably raised meat to customers. And this is a big windfall for them, because instead of selling their animals at auction, they'll be able to capture those lost dollars. So they'll be processing all of their animals themselves now. It's one of the only small scale facilities in the state of Texas, and I think it's a model that's going to really take off now that Justin knows exactly what he needs to do to get passed on a state inspection. And spoiler alert, he passes. So this inspection was 180 degrees different from the first one. He thinks that it was partly due to us being there, but there's some other things that you'll see that maybe it will help you understand. But every inspection should be as easy as this one. So let's jump right into it and see how it went.
You have to keep in mind we built all this. Special stencil. That's part of it, you know. Part of it. Well, I went through 12 engineers to get the right cooling system on everything, because I went through one engineer, another one, finally found the guy that was right. Yeah. So these 2 here, they go to the hot box, and then 3 go to the aging room, and that one down there goes to the cooling room. Then there's 2 more inside. Jeez. Them rail engineers were terrible. They were just awful.
They were all over the place. They didn't know what they were doing.
I would have loved to do local business, what I would like to have done.
But sometimes, yeah, sometimes that's just not good. I agree. Jeez.
Unload, and then they come in there and we got a live scale,
Yeah.
which most places don't have.
Really?
Right.
So because that's always a big gripe. People think that they got a 1,200 or 1,400 pound animal and they got an 800 pound animal and they're pissed off whenever they don't get what they think is all their meat. But
Smart. That's smart. It really is.
Part of it's educated.
So, yeah.
one of the things he said we need to have out here was that we needed a drain in these things.
Out of here?
Yeah.
A drain out of here?
Yeah, even though all this slopes off
Slopes
to
all the
here.
way off down here.
And
Right.
then, we've actually got a lagoon at the back,
Right.
for that little feeding yard.
Right.
And so he said that the manure and water coming off this couldn't go into that lagoon because it was considered a hazard to the environment, even though the same stuff is coming off of the feeding yard. No, it's here.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he took a flashlight and he shined it above the rail, and he said it was too dark. Which, whatever, I don't know that anything is ever going to go on above the rail.
Above the rail, I mean. Jesus.
No, because we're supposed to have 50-foot candles in this room, and before we put that light in, we had like 87, and now we've got over 100.
You do.
So, and we've got a lumens meter, so that if they bring that crap up,
Be like, nah, here's how bright this actually is. Swear. This is nice, man. They did a great job.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
That really does.
we got a big freezer, we got a cooler, and we got another freezer around the corner.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
Anywhere, we got the stable or yes, or whatever you can work best for you.
Y'all let it warm up out here.
It's a warm winter already.
Yeah.
Here's you a stack.
All right.
Y'all help yourself.
You might notice the camera. I'm just doing that so that I can, better keep up. Because last time, I really didn't know what we were getting
Okay,
into.
sure.
So just, like I said, mainly just so that I can understand.
Okay, sure.
So didn't want y'all to think we were spying or nothing like that. So.
We don't want to miss anything.
Good. Yeah, if it helps y'all, that's fine.
We want everything to be where we can remember it. If y'all have any questions along the way, just stop
Yeah, no problem.
and ask anything.
Yeah, that should help us. My goal today is I wanted to come out so that we could just get y'all on the right foot. I know there was some confusion before about a couple of different things, and so my goal today is I want hopefully everything's all good and we can get y'all up and running. If there's any remaining items, I want to make sure that everybody's clear on those at the end of anything, so that you can get those addressed as quick as possible to get y'all up and running. So,
Well, we talked about small business and, putting off and putting off and putting off just makes it really difficult on
Sure.
small business.
yeah, I mean, we want to get y'all up and running as soon as we can do that. So,
But then I'll ask better questions this time too, because I think there's a few things like the knife sterilizer. If I'd have known that was an issue, we could have just showed y'all that it worked and stuff.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, this stuff it's a lot of the like passive stuff and all that kind of stuff. It's deceptively difficult. And by that I mean to say that it's just not easy if you're not used to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
there's-
I understand because, like I said, I went through that course and I didn't feel like it really very well prepared you. And
I mean,
so-
there's people that get
It can be real
PhDs
Real
in
confusing.
that topic.
well, and you'll see, I've changed
So-
kind of how I have that HACCP set up. I made it a little bit easier for y'all
We've
to
had 3
go
different
through and.
advisors to help us go through all that. And
Okay,
look
great.
at it and go through it and change it and look at it and change it. And,
Okay. Who'd y'all work with?
well, there's a guy out of Arkansas that I know, and a lady out of Arizona, and then my dad works for some people over here, and his son works for Tyson,
Okay.
and he does that stuff all the time.
Okay.
So he's really good.
Okay. Good. Yeah, do you guys have a copy of that consumer guide?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And if you ever have any other needs for contacts for some of that, there's some really helpful ones in there. One of which is Dr. Carrie Gehring out of Texas A&M University.
Okay.
She is tremendously knowledgeable on meat HACCP, and she really, she used to teach a lot of the USDA courses for USDA FSIS. She used to teach all those folks, and so she's a tremendous resource that we happen to be really lucky in Texas to have right here accessible for us. And then there's also some other good ones, Southwest
And I
Meat
printed off
Association.
a whole list of them for you.
Okay.
And some good contact information for some supporting documentation and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That y'all can go to.
Yeah, I think there's some stuff about there's a couple organizations that are set up to like processor organizations. There's TAMP, Texas Association of Meat Processors, AMP, which is American
Yeah, we
Association
got
of Meat
turned on to that
Processors.
one.
Yeah, AMP or TAMP?
Yeah.
AMP, yeah. A guy named Chris Young runs that. He's a real knowledgeable guy. He used to run a plant himself and is now a guy that does a lot of work up in DC and stuff like that. Advocating for meat processing and independent meat processors. They're a little bit different from some of the other organizations because their membership is more small business oriented than there's like I think NAMI is one that's like North American Meat Institute or something like that. But they're like the bigger organizations. They have a lot of membership that is part of the big organizations. AMP is more geared towards the small organizations. And they have a lot of really good resources for plants as well. So are you guys looking into membership with them?
Yeah, I think we're gonna jump on with that because that's a really reasonable rate.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, I don't remember what the rates are, but
I think it's like
but I've met,
$200 a year. So
yeah. But I've met Chris Young a few times, and he comes to he's come to our meetings. Which is part of a group called NASMFID, which is the most longest ridiculous acronym ever. I think it stands for National Association of State Meat and Food Inspection Directors. We're actually thinking about changing the name because it's kind of silly, but to have a 6-letter acronym or whatever it is. But yeah, Chris has come and talked to us a few times, and I've conversed with him sometimes about some stuff. So they have a lot of resources for processors, examples of plans, a lot of stuff like that. Because it is difficult. This.
and we want to do it right too.
Yeah, and this is the time to get it all done, because as big of a pain as it is to have a delay right here at this point, because you're itching to get started, it's worse if we don't see something today or last time or whatever, and it needs to be fixed, and it's a thing that in the future we see it down the line and say, hey guys, you got to stop and do this, because now you got orders to fill, and you got people that are dependent on you, contracts you got to fulfill, and a delay at that point is worse on you guys as a business, and we don't want that. So, because we want you to be successful at the end of the day. It's my understanding you guys are wanting to slaughter a lot of your own cattle and that kind of stuff.
Yes, that's right.
Right, and I think that's a model that I hope can really proliferate. You know, there's a group called the Organization for Competitive Markets, and they're a group of family ranches that want to advocate for ranchers and for small businesses, and you know, it has to do with wanting people to get a fair price for their cattle and all those kinds of things. And this is a way that you guys can make sure that that happens for you. And you know, I don't know, maybe for some of y'all neighbors and stuff like that. But
Yeah, because we've already got a couple other producers that are looking at, you know, using us just to do that too. And
Right.
we've got other people in South Texas and East Texas that are wanting to copy this model because,
right,
you know, this scale, you can actually scale it for about a single producer really if you want to. It's a, you know, a medium volume. So
Yeah.
that's what we're hoping to be able to do for them too.
well, because then, I mean, you keep that dollar in your pocket and in your ranch,
Absolutely.
and without involving, you know, JBS or IVP or whoever, you know, you can make sure that you get a fair dollar because you're paying it to yourself.
Well, and we're going to be very meticulous about how we do it because
Right.
it is our stuff.
And you can build your own brand
Yeah.
and all that. And I think that that is a model that can help out a lot of people. And you know, I really want to see that catch on. And I hope that our state program can be a part of helping that be successful. So, so anyway, that's part of the reason I'm out here today is because I think that this model is something that can help a lot of people out. And it's a difficult thing to start from the idea of I want to process my own animals and get through this process, right? Because the way these regulations are written, it's not easy to do. And, you know, a big company, they have a full-time HACCP consultant that probably has a master's or a PhD in meat science, right? And so they've got an actual food scientist on staff every day, right? And they're writing these things, and you know, the USDA is in charge of a lot of what the regulations are. We have some of our own stuff here in Texas, but you know, we want to be, as a state program, more accessible. You know, we're organized a little differently than some other state programs. A lot of state programs are part of their state Department of Agriculture. We are not. We're part of the Texas Department of State Health Services, but so we're not part of the Department of Ag. So a lot of other state programs are, but we're part of DSHS. But you know, part of what we want to do is be more accessible to smaller establishments to help you guys be successful, right? And we want to. You know, we still, at the end of the day, have a responsibility to be what is called at least equal to. Right? We have to, you know, by both federal and state law, be at least equal to USDA FSIS, which means we have to enforce those regulations to the same ends, but sometimes we can be a little bit different in the approach that we take, and we can tailor that a little bit more, we hope at least, towards helping small businesses be successful. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah, that's great. That's good
No,
stuff.
we
That's
like
really
that a
good.
lot.
Yeah. That's great.
So
Well, we like the state program. That's why that's the way we built it.
Yeah.
Is for the state program.
yeah,
We like the way it was set up, and it fits this scale really well.
yeah, and I think that you know, hopefully we'll be able to get through this difficult part of getting everything set up, and then you guys will be off the races. So I'll hand it over to Ken.
We want to jump back there at the
Yeah,
back.
we'll start from the back and work our way back like we did last time. Oh, yeah. Very fine. Okay.
So we set up the curbing with the drain there. And that way,
Right.
like I said, you know, all this slopes is anyway,
Right.
so we felt like that getting that right there, you know, that would help meet that requirement. That's perfect. And then I know we you know, we haven't really changed much. We did, I'll tell you back here where we took care of that piece that was sticking off there. That's what we went with. I talked to a couple people and they said, you could go with the raised rebar, but I felt like that'd be really hard to clean.
Hard to clean.
And that kind of defeats the purpose.
Do they stamp these?
Yes, sir.
Last time. That's what I thought.
Yep, they stamped them.
Of course, I know you guys probably don't have all that.
Once again, just
Less shipping.
I do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
Not all of it's bad.
I got you.
So,
Yeah, we're just moving over here. The shipping costs.
Well, like I've done motors,
That's the way to do it. You can do it.
makes sense.
Get in your pocket.
Right there.
Okay. Yeah, and we can even put a angle iron on there.
Right now you find. Be on the walls. Especially when they start smelling blood.
Yeah. That big piece that was sticking off there. It's all right. If you guys got a look at this last time or not. But
Yeah. I like that. Where'd you say you had that line?
that was from the millwright that did our rail system. We'd have to ask. What was Jerry?
It's Jerry's Welding. He's from Alabama.
He sure came in and did a bang up job. Him and a crew of like 7 or 8 guys.
Yeah, he's becoming really hot on it.
Yeah, we.
That was one of our other concerns for y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the last time they were
That wasn't there.
Yeah, this wasn't here, and after I was sitting there thinking, I said, well, I was like, I want to be able to open and close this safely where it doesn't hurt me, and I said, so it needs to be low enough, and then also they can't really see it to where, because those cattle aren't going to come across here, they'll get spooked before they go in there.
You'll see that opening in there.
And then the hogs won't see it.
That's for the full especially.
I like it. Good job, guys.
That was all left over.
Whee!
Especially with the hog, making sure birds and stuff.
Yeah, we have this.
Perfect.
It's a windy nature.
Now, y'all can dilute that?
We can.
Yes. Okay. So as long as you're getting a good cover over the distance where it is turning green, go straight, you'll go through a whole bunch of it, but you can dilute that.
Okay.
So it'll last a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on
We
there
played
it's got
on-
instructions that say
Yeah,
like
we played
30
on all
to
our
1.
kill days too. That day calling it.
Yeah, they're gonna pick up that day, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that wouldn't be no issue at all. So.
No.
Like I said, we fixed around the drains, where it wouldn't quite work.
Got both?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the stainless steel ones are on back order for like 12 plus weeks from everywhere we've been able to find. So
That works, it's claimable?
yes, sir.
Well, that works. Once again, Where are you gonna put our inspections?
Right there.
Right here?
Yes.
Like here,
Yeah, we have little carts so that, you know, you can move stuff around.
yeah, this is basically for to set yard and other roads to set in the heart and the lungs on. And then it's all washable, everything we can put washable. Yeah, the head table, and the gut wagon, like Justin was saying, is backward 12 weeks.
So you got those on order?
We have, yeah, but we can sure do that if.
Yeah, the head cabinet. And yeah, in the long run, you probably gotta have
Probably.
that.
Okay, yeah, that's sure something we can do.
And then as far as,
We've got to be able to.
That'll make everything ultimately a lot easier.
yeah, I mean, it's a deal where you can set it on there and drop the tongue,
Uh-huh.
and then our inspector can get at the parts of the head that they need to get at. I mean, in the short term, probably do that inspection.
Yeah.
You know, without it, but in the long run,
Yes.
because that'll still like,
Especially if
It'll-
God's saving hands.
yeah.
God will start saving hands and everything.
Yeah, we will at some
Cleaner
point.
process.
Yeah, as far as the gut wagon, we don't. The head table, I actually do think we do have it on overlooking city on from Walton's.
that'd be the more important.
Yeah.
You know, as far as this situation goes, is for cattle, you know, that like, you know, the pluck and the liver and all that stuff isn't going to fit on that deal. For now, I mean, it'd fit on here, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
This is
That's gonna be.
pretty. I mean, it works probably in the short term because it's cleanable and all that, but in the long run, you may want to think about doing something different with that.
Yeah.
Because the longer it takes us to do our inspection piece,
These are gonna be.
the slower this process goes, right? And so we don't want to be holding you up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
by
I mean, this is
getting that stuff in place,
That's what-
that helps us
That's what
do our inspection piece faster, so it helps your system run
Yeah,
faster.
for sure. Yeah, and that's not a big deal at all. We have to do
Start
that.
doing everything, boom, 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 getting all the best.
And to
stuff.
start with, really, we're probably gonna
Non-stop.
start slow
And
anyway.
then
Sure.
It's all on the best.
Yeah,
of
it's
the
a new
best.
thing for you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can, so.
But yeah, that's not an issue at all.
Okay.
That's what I want this to be, like top notch.
You guys have a split saw?
Yes, sir.
No,
Oh.
and then we'll eventually get a split saw.
Okay.
Amazing how much of that stuff is hard to get a hold of right now.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
There's people that's trying to buy any kind of equipment,
Yeah.
and they just can't get it in. And I had an establishment not too long ago, had to buy a brand new grinder. They got it in, and it was damaged. So we had to wait another
Oh,
2 or 3
man.
months just to get one shipped in.
See, and that's what we're trying to do with what we can make do, and hopefully 6 months down the road or a year down the road, then it's going to be, I mean, this will be first, no matter what, but as the new meat grinder, get us an actual splitting saw, get us everything. 'Cause
Right.
I'm gonna be doing back-breaking work, splitting
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
I've seen it done.
We got a ton of blades too, and so I've been trying to, you know, get it down, because I do a lot of beer and everything just personalized. And so I've been practicing, that way I can at least get to where we can get that spinal cord out just perfect and everything else.
Yeah, have a sharp blade on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got about 15 or 20 of them that are probably
That'll work for you.
That'll work.
Okay, good deal. Yes, sir. I feel like that's high enough. We can reliably clean under it.
See, that was a concern last time, it was real low.
Yes, sir.
Anything in here is gonna get trapped up in. There's where all your blood, your fat, and everything's gonna be concentrated in here. That will work, I think.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And it's so much easier to do it now, you know, because if you think about if you had to do it later, once it became a problem, now think about this full of carcasses, right?
Yeah.
And now you got cutting that and then stuff flying in the air and all of that. You're having to figure out how you're going to move all these carcasses and cover them, people get contaminated and all that kind of stuff. So it's good to go ahead and handle that now, because later on,
walked in there, the rails out there, he didn't know that quarter anyway.
Yeah, we did our homework. That's why we're like, it needs to be all the way up.
That is the thing we see in a lot of plants that they don't really understand that you gotta have rails around on an angle whole beef. You have it not touch the ground. Folks get in a situation where they got a quarter on the kill floor and that slows them down. And that slows you down forever.
Yeah.
You're never gonna be able to like you could otherwise.
Yeah.
We also fixed that seam.
The other thing that can be a challenge with seeing the drill out like this, if you start to have condensation. I mean, one thing we see in Texas, because as we all know, it's pretty hot in Texas. We see condensation being an issue sometimes, particularly when it's hot out, and you start having that in here, and it drips on carcasses. Now you've got like a non-food contact surface up top that you don't get cleaned very much. That's dripping right down on carcasses, contaminating those carcasses potentially. So that'll be a thing to watch out for. Some of the things that you can do to prevent that from being a problem is you can have having this sealed real well.
Bill, I tried plans for that, reasonably priced. Easier to get on the trucks and more finally this stuff come out.
We also put all our outlets at the top. That way it's real easy to do lockout, tag out.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, we tried to put way more than we need.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
yeah, that is always the way to do it. Do it on the front end of things, get plenty of those pallets in there. Get the next one.
That, where the sheets out, I mean, these are put up. Oh, behind these panels.
Yeah, the max is 20.
They insulated.
Any of the surfaces here. So I redid how I had my passive, so that it's a lot easier to see.
That's the way to do it, like that binder, so that you can get through it. It's,
Simplified my flow charts.
good.
A lot of it, I didn't really, between everybody we talked to, I didn't change that really much content. It's more streamlining it and that kind of stuff.
Y'all gonna run retail out here?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So we'll have fresh, meat here, and then we got a little cooler. Danny here, he actually grows vegetables local, and we got some other local producers. So we'll have locally raised vegetables there, and then of course dry goods. And, we got a couple of freezers for the other stuff.
Great.
Try to really bring a lot of
It's
value.
just what you were talking about, the local home-raised product.
Yeah.
In the cattle business,
We took a temp, here's what it was, here's where we took the other temp, here's what it was, here's our past history, so forth, so on. And then they can determine that product is safe. They can come back and give us a written report saying, yes, in our opinion, it's a safe product. We go take the tags off and we go to the
Okay.
So
That's good to know.
that's some good information in here.
Yeah.
Some really, really good resources
Okay.
to help y'all out as you go through. Also printed off for you, number for Gotch.
Okay.
So the way this process works is getting your stamp.
Mhm.
You have an application, of course. Another application.
Yeah.
So once I send the paperwork, you did pass.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. So I'll send the paperwork in.
Insane.
Be efficient with our inspection staff, so that we don't have somebody here to inspect one beef and then you go 3 of them custom, and then you get one in the afternoon. Now if somebody's been here, we're paying somebody for a whole day's work with state dollars
Right.
that we didn't need to do, right? So
we should know a couple of weeks ahead about, when we need an inspector, for sure.
we'll set up that work schedule agreement.
Okay.
With something that works for y'all to start, and then your other days you can run custom. If you got to expand it, okay, that was great.
Good deal. I think that. I don't know that I have any more questions. So
You have any?
Yes.
Give me a call.
I sure do appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Thanks for all the hard work.
Good.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Sure appreciate y'all coming up.
Sir,
Good to meet you. Visit. Call anytime.
Thank you on that asset. That
Sounds good.
makes a lot of sense.
Likewise.
Yeah, for sure.
So will we get a form to get that stamp or to fill
Yeah,
that
he
out?
already gave me all that information, so.
And we get that grant turned around. That's awesome. Good, good. So, yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for
Yeah,
everything.
very
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you.
You bet. We'll see you again.
All right.
All right. Have a good day.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.